Hello and welcome to another episode of Rachel Rodgers TV. Today I'm dealing with a juicy question that I'm sure many of you are dealing with or will deal with at some point. So let's dig in, shall we? So today's question is, as a new startup, what state should I incorporate in? Now, I am sure that you've heard at some point from somewhere that every startup should incorporate in Delaware. Despite what you may have heard, Delaware is not a one-size-fits-all solution. There are a number of factors to consider when choosing which state you will incorporate your business in. Let's review some of the advantages and disadvantages of incorporating in Delaware versus your home state. The reason that most people think startups should be incorporated in Delaware is because Delaware's law provides a series of advantages for publicly traded companies and companies about to go public. These advantages include flexible corporate structure, including the ability to have one person make up the entire board of directors, even if there are many more shareholders. Corporate law that can, in some instances, give majority shareholders increased flexibility and power when dealing with the minority shareholders. Now keep in mind, if you are a startup founder, you will most likely be the minority shareholder if you accept venture capital. So this is not something that necessarily favors you. Other advantages include swift corporate filings, which is kind of a big deal because in other states it can take months. In addition, corporate litigation is decided by a judge, not a jury, and what this means is that there is a lot of precedent. So there are a lot of cases that have been decided, and when those cases are decided, the judge writes an opinion, and that opinion can be relied on by these corporations when an issue comes up. So they can look to the body of law and see how a judge might deal with their issue, and that often can lead to the ability to negotiate settlements. Lastly, Delaware allows for anonymity because the board of directors and officers do not have to be listed in the corporate formation documents. Now, those are some of the basic advantages of incorporating in Delaware. Now, these advantages mostly apply to big companies or companies about to go public, so they don't necessarily favor you just yet. Now let's discuss the major disadvantage to incorporating in Delaware, assuming Delaware isn't your home state. Even if you incorporate in Delaware, you are still going to have to register as a foreign entity in your home state because that is the state where you do business. This may mean that you have to comply with corporate governance laws in 2 states, and it means that you are going to be subject to tax liability in your home state as well. Now, this may not seem like a big deal, but actually it is because it can increase your administration and tax burdens at a time when your resources, time and money, really need to be focused on developing the business. So for many startups, it won't make sense to incorporate in Delaware. Now keep in mind, if your goal is to go after venture capital and you do eventually receive venture capital, then you can reincorporate your business in Delaware at that time. I hope that gives you a framework from which to be thinking through these issues and what's right for your business in terms of incorporation. Obviously, corporate formation for startups can be particularly complex, so I highly recommend that you hire an attorney to deal with these issues. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching Rachel Rodgers TV, and please feel free to submit your questions to me using that big blue button below. If you found the video useful, please share it with your friends, and I'll see you next week right here on Rachel Rodgers TV. Bye-bye.